Doing calisthenics will give you an aesthetic body. Now, before I explain to you how, firstly I gotta ensure what I mean by when I say it will give you an aesthetic body. The traditionally aesthetic by aesthetics we understand that the body must have a V taper. You should have broad shoulders with a narrow waist. Ideally, your waist to hip ratio, your shoulder to your waist ratio should be 1.6. That's the ideal aesthetic body, and that's what deemed to be the most attractive. And to build that, you gotta have low body fat percentage and a broad shoulder. And calisthenics will actually give you that broad shoulders and a narrow waistline along with a low body fat percentage. For example, if you're lifting, if you're doing planches, handstand push-ups, or if you're doing dips, this will stress your shoulders beyond normal limit. This will put your shoulder in such a stress which cannot be compared to any gym exercises. And not only that, it will also challenge your core because you need a lot of core stabilization while doing the handstand push-ups. And also you gotta have to have a low body fat percentage. You cannot afford to be above 20 or 25% of body fat, because then all those weight of excess fat will act as a dead weight and will prevent you from doing advanced calisthenics moves, because those weights are essentially dead weights, and it will actually make your workout or exercises like pull-ups, because body weight exercises tend to get harder if you have more body weight, and it will also make it very difficult for you to learn new skills as well. So what happens is calisthenics athletes normally prefer to have a low body fat percentage. So they have broader shoulders because of doing extensive shoulder related workouts like handstand push-ups, planches, handstand holds, um, planche to handstand, etc. These moves put a lot of pressure on your rear, front, and your lateral delts, and pulling movements such as rows, levers, and pull-ups would put a lot of stress on your rear delts. So to create a 3D delt, you typically need to build these three delts: the rear, front, and back, and the lateral delts. And these are the delts that are targeted by all these calisthenics moves. And apart from that, I've also seen gymnasts or calisthenics athletes to include some sort of hypertrophy work in their workout. For instance, they would do some isolation flies for their uh, front delts, and or they would do some lateral raises for their iron cross training. So yeah, so they typically have a robust and a well-developed three sides of their delts, giving them that 3D appearance. So calisthenics athletes and gymnasts have broad shoulders. They also have a V-shaped back because their lats tend to be more developed, because they put a lot of emphasis on pulling related movement like pull-ups, like levers. So their lats are quite developed as well. Um, Not to mention that when you're doing flags or lever raises, you're also putting a lot of stress on your lats. So that's another reason why they have huge lats or strong, robust lats. And finally, they will also have a strong core or chiseled washboard abs, because they'll put a lot of emphasis on core workout. Almost all the exercises that calisthenics and gymnasts do tend to stress your core or your uh, abdominal muscles. For example, doing lever, planches, um, leg raises, and other compound exercises like pull-ups. These will also ensure that your cores are contracted to ensure stability. So their core are under stress in every exercises in all their work days. That's why they tend to have a strong, robust core. And not only that, movements like back levers and planches also require you to have a strong lower back muscles to make sure that your form is stable enough so that you don't get into anterior or posterior pelvic tilt. And that's why they tend to have strong. The calisthenics athletes and gymnasts must have strong lower back and core. And yeah, so that's why they have aesthetic physique, because they check all the mark that are needed for having an aesthetic physique, which are having broad shoulders, wide back, chiseled abs, and strong core, narrowed and trimmed down waistline, low body fat percentage. They have it all. That's why if you are doing calisthenics, I assure you that you will have your desired aesthetic physique.